Roll dice, be nice, and stay tuned. This is the Live to Die podcast.
Howdy, everyone.
Sup?
Hi.
Hey.
Listen to that. Do you hear how many voices just said hello?
4.
Well, no, I think there was 5
Well, 5.
plus me, so
Screaming out
6.
in horror.
Wait.
That one
What?
person didn't.
Oh, who didn't say hi?
Hi.
Oh,
Thanks.
there we go.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
Jason.
Terrible math.
Wait, I got something.
It's a good sign when we can't count to 5 when this show starts.
On the first recording of the day.
Yeah, it's going to be a good day. Well, so I wanted to sort of give a little bit of a look behind it because we sort of acknowledged that the last few episodes we've had Ryan and not Jane, but we never really talked about the why. And the why isn't because there's any issue with Jane or any...
I got fired.
Yeah.
She's like,
I would go that far.
So we're getting kind of close to a pretty cool threshold here, and that's that at the not this day of our recording, but probably next day that we record a handful of episodes, we'll be recording what will be episode 1, well, the 100th episode. It won't be like episode 100.
Oh,
It'll be
sick.
the 100th episode. How cool is that, right?
Whoa.
Yeah, and so along with that, the fact that we've managed to make this work for 2.5 years has been really remarkable. This is not me saying we're about to stop making it work. It's actually sort of the opposite. We all hit a point like a year or two ago where, we all hit a point about 6 months ago in which we're like, what happens if we're really low on episodes and we can't all make it, which is when we originally brought Ryan and Matt in because we couldn't get the whole group here for recording. And so at that point, we kind of started brainstorming of like, what could we do to help it? And well, we've talked for a while about how are we going to use so that the money coming in from Patreon is covering like our monthly host fees and some of those monthly costs. But it's been slowly over almost the last year now building up a little extra. I was like, well, what if we use the money to buy an extra mic and get it on here? And so I've always wanted to have the ability to do like guest spot seats. And so what we've been doing is we wanted to bring Ryan in because we really enjoyed playing with him and we thought it'd be fun. But the beauty of having 5 players is now that if someone's sick or has something and can't make it, we don't have to reschedule a whole recording. We're also at a point in the story narratively where like it kind of works to not, like a player can narratively like just fuck off for a session and be like, yeah, I'm just dealing with kingdom duties. See ya. And so we got it all set up for Ryan to come here, but we didn't have the 5th mic here by the last time. So Jane was like, all right, I'm just going to sit this one. She had some work she needed to get done anyway. We got Ryan's character introduced at a good beat in the story. And now we have 5 players, 6 active mics, 2 more streams. I'm managing 8 separate audio streams over here today, which feels a little daunting.
Can I give a fact about this? I've never played with Ryan.
Oh.
Yeah, you have.
Well, you're the
I ran
GM.
agreement.
It's
a
not
liar.
the same.
Liar.
It's not the same.
Oh, it's, player.
Yeah,
Yeah.
player, yeah.
I
So-
played with the rest of you idiots.
Wow.
Whoa.
Uncalled.
And that's why you're the guest.
Really bringing in that energy to this, huh?
Oh, man.
So I also might sound a little different. We're still figuring it out because we, in addition to getting a new mic, we actually upgraded one of the mics. We've been using some honestly really solid economy mics for a while, but we decided to try out one of the like fancier mics where I'm getting a little bit of room tone in the background. We'll have to see how this edits out. It does sound different. Hopefully it just sounds clearer to everyone. But I'm so used to hearing the old mics. I'm like, oh God, does it sound terrible?
That's what they recorded
That sounds
Thriller
pretty
on.
good.
What's that?
Oh,
They
wow.
recorded Thriller on one of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's super cool.
So give us your
Is that
best
real or you
key.
just
So you know.
There you go.
I'm having to get used to the distance because I used to talk like right here, and that's too much
don't
of this
have
mic.
to.
I got to be like right here. But anyway, so that was it. I just want to give you all a little bit of a look behind the scenes, say thanks to our Patreons who've kind of helped to make this possible because it's going to make it much more possible for us to record when we can bring people in and out. And you've already heard a couple of guest voices, and I know the one nice thing is this is one of the longest like times I've lived in a single state in my whole life. And so I've over the years slowly been able to build out a network of people I love playing games with. And so the goal is to be able to start bringing some of those voices in and out here and trying different things out. So just want to say a big thanks to all the patrons and all the listeners. And thanks to all of you for showing up around this now kind of crowded table, which is the best way to play a game, I think.
I like it.
Jason, though, did come with a question for us today.
Well, I gotta give this shout out to Jessica a little bit.
Oh, nice.
But so when you're playing or when I'm playing, I always think about like the choices you can make. And we all have intrusive thoughts. Sometimes those choices are very evil. Fireball. Like that'd be one of them. What fictional character would best represent like the dark timeline version of your character?
Okay, I will say really quick that when you said we all have intrusive thoughts, I was like, except Jared.
Except
I
Jared.
don't think that Jared
I have
does.
intrusive mind pictures.
Mind pictures. It's all the same.
No inner monologue, sweetest person I know.
I don't know. And
Does not happen.
Mind
I think
pictures
there's a
might make it
correlation
worse.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
It doesn't stay with me, It's like in and out. We're done. I'll answer because when you asked, I immediately thought of someone, and I don't like it, but it's probably Peter Baelish, aka
Dude.
Littlefinger.
Me and Jessica said the same thing last night.
Yeah, I feel like that's pretty on point. Interested in money, always scheming, kind of behind the scenes a little bit. It just made most sense to my brain in the moment.
Definitely makes sense.
Trent and Jane are cracking up, but I don't know about
I
what.
know Trent. We said one for Trent too.
Well, I thought of one immediately because I was like, well, Arthur's a liberator. So who would want to be doing the opposite? So Leonardo DiCaprio and Django Unchained.
Yes.
Oh, God.
That's great. I love that.
Jessica and I suggested the undead version of the mountain from Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's kind of an intense one, Trent, but I'll give you that. Okay.
Okay, I have a more lighthearted one. I feel like Ari is a swashbuckler who cares about, trying to be like courageous. So I feel like she is maybe like Captain Barbosa
Yeah.
from Pirates of
nice.
the Caribbean in
Yeah.
her darkest self.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
that's
a
a
good
cool one.
Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Did you say Purge the Cowardly Dog?
Courage.
That's Max Damage's.
His nickname.
Slogan,
His alter
Purge the
ego's
Cowardly Dog.
All right, so we got Barbosa, we've got whatever DiCaprio's horrible
I don't
character
know what his
in.
name is.
Yeah,
I
don't
don't
look
know
that up.
The one that we came up with for Nikolai, if you've seen King Arthur Legend of the Sword, the very beginning, there's like an evil druid king.
Oh,
Yes.
sure.
That kind of would fit. But, I guess to come up with one that's more commonly known, Lord Farquaad, maybe.
Lord Farquaad.
Just like a total asshole and wants to kill the monsters in the swamp with reckless abandon.
That's fair.
I love it. He
His
just wants
name
the
is
fantasy world to be Singapore.
Yeah.
is Calvin Candy.
I like
Yeah.
it.
What?
Oh,
Cal
right. I
Candy's his
name.
forgot that.
Yeah.
Mr. Candy.
I think
Yeah.
for Jonas, I had to go to Boyd Crowder from Justified.
Yeah.
Oh, great character.
Yeah,
Oh.
or just because he's like all charisma all the time. Raylan, the way he says it, I just love it so much.
Is Boyd the one played by
Walton Goggins.
Walton
Goggins.
Goggins. Okay, so I just finished. This will be pretty late news by the time it airs. Like everything we talk about, I finally just finished the Fallout show on Amazon. It's actually very, very good, and Walton Goggins is phenomenal.
He's
in
so
that.
good.
He's
all
good in
Jane and I
everything.
have
Yeah,
a
Vice
comment I know.
Principals on HBO. There's 2 seasons of that show. It's a must watch with
Oh,
him
okay.
and Danny McBride, where they play like co-vice principals of this school, and it is wild.
It's over the top. It's fun.
So he's so good.
But one thing I know that Jane and I have in common is that neither of us have probably played Fallout.
No, absolutely not.
Ever.
Oh, really?
I've never played Fallout.
That's
It's
It's a good one.
unfortunate. It's really fun.
I've always I watch people on the boat play it.
Skyrim's better,
Yeah,
but
Yeah.
Fallout's fun too.
Yeah.
Do you guys know what this weekend is?
Nope.
Yeah, you do.
it's
Mm-mm.
It was in the group chat.
the
Game day.
Italian Grand Prix.
Come on, keep going. What are things that I care about?
Oh, the Nancy Drew.
Yes!
Yeah, the Nancy Drew
Is
game.
that this week?
It actually
Okay,
already
okay.
came
It
out
dropped like yesterday,
Tuesday. I think.
Tuesday.
Oh, that's usually
So
Or maybe
y'all are
last
staying
weekend.
after recording, and we're starting that Nancy Drew game.
Well,
They
they
have a place at Weldworks for us to play Nancy Drew.
Yeah.
We can make it work.
Yeah, we
That
can
made
make
it
it
We'll
work.
figure it out.
So I feel like, do I need to answer? Like, I
Yeah.
know that I have a character. Should I
What?
give Dark World, Darkest Timeline versions of NPCs, or should I try to come up with like the narrative that is the Darkest Timeline version of Kingmaker? Because that one seems easy. That's like just Game of Thrones.
I think
Yeah,
that
yeah.
you should pick your favorite NPC that you've had so far
Of all the NPCs,
in season 2.
or okay, season 2.
Slip repeat. Oh.
I mean, honestly, I feel like some of my favorite
Claptrap?
NPCs has got to be. It's got to be like one of the woodcutters, the
Yeah.
The woodcutter and the
Oh,
turned
fisherman.
yeah.
lumberjack.
Yes.
And I'm trying to think like what's the Dark World version of that? Maybe it's Jesse from Breaking Bad.
I could
Like
see
someone
it.
who used to be a
That's
criminal and
funny.
is trying to clean their life up, and the Darkest Timeline just cannot pull it together.
Yeah.
But in this one, they're like, no, I'm a lumberjack now and I'm helping out, as opposed to like every season of Breaking Bad, which you're like, is Jesse finally going to be okay? And he's not.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's not
Yeah.
not good.
I think Claptrap's would be the horse from Tangled. And if anyone's seen Tangled,
Tangled is wonderful.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
horse that's like always trying to fight people.
Yeah.
It's Claptrap's
So good.
Darkest
I-
Timeline.
I also like that we have the dad side of the table and the non-dad side of the table. And all of you, like once per episode, it'll be like, oh, have you seen Tangled or Encanto? And all the dads are like, yeah, it's great.
It's great.
You guys, we
So-
need to brush up on our kids' movies over
Encanto
here.
is fucking amazing.
Encanto's a great
It's
movie.
amazing.
But
I
speaking
cry
of
every
Tangled,
time.
we have one of those screens in our Toyota that folds down behind
Yeah,
the
yeah.
driver. And so I've listened to Tangled several hundred times.
Yeah.
In like all these movies, I was like, tell me who's talking right now. What do they look like? I'm always asking the girls to explain it to me. Like they watch Madagascar and I'm like, who's this person? You know, who's playing this and so and so. And I think this, yeah.
They're like, well, dad, it's a lemur.
Yeah.
Use your
Yeah,
imagination,
yeah.
Dad.
I can put on a
King
movie for you
Julian
guys
is
on the way
lemur.
home if you want.
This is an excellent
Is there a
whistler.
movie thing in your van?
Yeah, just go sit in the back seat. I'll
What?
put a movie on for you.
Oh, nice. This is finally my chance to watch a movie in the car.
You know what? Because we've gotten feedback that some people appreciate our pop culture deep cuts, I'm actually going to offer a different choice.
Ooh.
I would like to offer. I can't decide if it's like just as a group of enemies. I think Knock Knock somewhat embodies the spirit of the whole film. And I don't want to spoil anything about the characters, but I'll say is the film. Have you seen You're Next?
Yes, I have.
You're one of the few
Now I'm
people.
scared.
I'm confusing it with the level 2 feet.
Oh no.
Yeah.
So You're Next is a phenomenally interesting horror film by Adam Weingart. Adam Weingart has done a few things. He worked heavily on some of the VHS like horror anthology films. He did the most recent Blair Witch, which was a little hit or miss. He weirdly did Godzilla vs. Kong, but he also famously did one of my favorite movies, The Guest. The Guest is phenomenal, but right around The Guest, he did a movie called You're Next. And it's about this really rich family that it came out around the same time as The Strangers, and it kind of got grouped in with The Strangers. Unfortunately, for it, in my opinion, because Your Next is far better than The Strangers. It is a...
Strangers is dark. Almost, it was too dark for me. The Strangers.
The Strangers just feels like a half-hearted swing at funny games. If any of you are aware of that, it's about these family that goes to stay at a lake house, and these two guys come over and just sort of like torture, blackmail the whole family into weird games. Funny games.
Funny games.
Yeah, it's cheeky and cute.
Where is this going? We've gone down a rabbit hole.
Your Next is an amazing movie that should be watched, but there's one of my favorite bits of directing comes in Your Next, and it just gives me major Knock Knock vibes. And it's this great bit where at one point the whole family's fighting, and the mom of this very rich family is really upset. She's like, I'm just going to go and lay down in this huge house. And you get like a mid shot at her in the bed. You start to get the camera pulled back, and then it cuts away to the family, and it comes back. And it keeps the same framing in the shot, mother in the bed, and it doesn't direct you to the fact that you just see this hand of a person who's been under the bed reaching out from under the bed. And so unlike a lot of movies that would hard cut to it to give you the jump, it lets you discover it on your own in the shot. And it is one of the most unsettling things. But that just gives me Darkest Timeline Knock Knock energy.
I was going to say this isn't the darkest Knock Knock that we have.
I know.
No,
I like
Knock Knock
this
is
is the
the
darkest.
worst.
I thought he was going to say something like, something Knock Knock with someone nice.
Oh, like in the Darkest Timeline Knock Knock's a
Knock
Yeah.
Teletubby.
So, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
Knock Knock
Exactly.
is a goblin named Who's There.
Yeah.
Who's just sweet and friendly.
I know we've spent too much time on it, but we should have had you do Oleg and Svetlana.
I don't want to. I just like them. I like, genuinely love the backstory in their
They're Sonny and
relationship.
Cher in another time.
You're right.
Oh no, that does not bode well for him.
All right. Well,
Nikolai's been trying to swoop in on Svetlana since day one.
let's go ahead and pull up a little bit of. Let's do some moody Syrinscape music. I think we should cut back to Jane's group. Is this too moody? Should I give you something a little more upbeat?
I don't know. I don't even know what I'm doing.
Is this like the morning
You
after?
tell me.
Is this
I mean,
morning
she
after
seemed
hangover
pretty
music?
excited to see Mary.
She's
So
like,
Yeah.
sitting by a river.
This
Brooding.
roof of your tent is still spinning when you wake up.
Yeah, like, oh.
Yeah, you're right. Let's go for Forest Day.
let's see what that means.
It's really pleasant.
Oh, it is pleasant.
She's like, oh, it's so bright. Oh.
So I'll come back to you. You've been with the gnome Jubilost, the halfling bard Lindsay, the human barbarian Amiri,
She's so cool.
for let's say a day or two, maybe 2 days, day and a half. And because you and Jubilost have had this dream of a unicorn.
Oh, yeah. We were having like the same weird dream about a unicorn dying.
And so I'm gonna we're not going to play this all out, although wouldn't that be some like almost hilarious note of like, all right, everyone, we got 3 episodes of the rest of the party. I want all 4 of you to sit here for 3 episodes while I do a one-on-one session with Jane.
Now you know how it feels.
So, say over the time you work your way westwards through the direction that your kingdom is slowly expanding, you encounter a few things. You find some logging parties that are out here. Like you as a kingdom haven't expanded enough to have your own logging camps, but this is a big forest. And for those who are willing to like load it up and bring it back, there's good wood out here. So you
can I like have made a little connection with them for our kingdom's sake?
Yeah, you know what? Actually, I have a name for you because it's Pathfinder, and
There's a rule for that.
you can actually kind of meet get the name from. Give me a second. I got this. It's in my other notes though, so I wasn't ready.
Can I telepathically tell it to Lucky so Jared can write it down?
Yeah, I didn't get a pencil though, so.
Oh shit!
no.
No, wait, no.
No, I'll
It's-
put it on my notes app.
Jason, see that brown box right there? That should have a pencil in it. If you could grab that, thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Jason.
All right. So what you are able to find, Jane, is you meet a logger named Corax, Corax.
Or axe.
Corax. He's running a small crew of about like 6 to 10, depending on, you know, who's coming in and who's heading out that day. They're working their way through the woods. They're not like clear cutting by any means. They're just kind of picking up some trees and trying to chop them down and bring them back so that they can sell them. Either they're hoping that your kingdom does well enough where they can sell them there because that's just a far less distance to travel, or you know, they can always bring it up to, you know, Brevoy and try to sell it there.
Sweet.
So you kind of pass them on one day. You're getting a little bit deeper. So you're getting deeper into the forest. It's an unsettling place. I mean, like there's all sorts of stories of fae here, and you've already had your own run-in. Those little gremlins are a type of fae.
The Mitflits?
Yeah, those are fae of a type, sort of like fae vermin.
Those guys sucked.
But you know, there's all the idea that they are sort of first world, and these are echoes of that first iteration of creation, and a lot of that still seems to bleed into existence or reality here. And as you make your way deeper, it's almost as if you feel things watching you, or everything feels just a little different than you're used to. And there's odd things, like even with Jubilos doing his best to keep maps, really thorough maps of your exploration and journey, it's like you know from your compasses you're continuing to head west, but you sometimes feel like you've looped past the same tree twice, even without turning. Just odd things like that. Geographical features that don't make sense. Water that for a minute looks like it's maybe running slightly uphill at times until you get closer, then something about it changes.
Creepy.
And finally, you find your way, after probably 2 straight days of travel deep into this forest. This place specifically called the Gnarl Marches. Well, let me double check the name on that, because I'm rusty and a shitty GM. This is the Green Belt. And you're to the east of the Hook Tongue, like marshes. No, so this is the Gnarl Marshes. You're kind of nearing the western edge of what they call the Green Belt, and into the Gnarl Marshes and forests there. And what you're going to come across is a little bit of flavor text, which we all love. And so as you're getting closer and closer, a new smell kind of comes up for you. And it's a stink, moldering plants, accompanied by, oh, you know what? I think it's time to really bring this down here, because it's accompanied by an ominous silence.
Right.
Oh.
What? No. And it seems to become sort of pervasive as you work your way deeper into this sunken clearing in the woods, almost like a bowl in the ground with trees around it sort of leaning in. The ground itself is growing soggy with, you know, kind of marshy footsteps. You can just hear it under your feet. But in the center, you see a pool, maybe even a stagnant insect-infected swamp-like pond at the basin of it. But sprawled at the pond's southern edge is what looks like the laying body of a white horse.
Oh.
It's maybe 50, 60 feet away from you.
This is like Harry Potter 1.
Yes. Yes?
Oh, are you asking me to participate here?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, she's gonna, run over to the horse.
I think Jubilos runs over with you. Amiri is just head on a swivel, wondering what's up here.
I
As
would
you-
follow her anywhere.
Well, she's kind of staying back up at the lip of this like bowl in the forest, trying to keep her eyes out. And the few other gnomes that are with you, it's been hard travel. There isn't a road here, so you've been having to cut your own way through. As you get closer, though, it does appear to be a dead unicorn,
Oh.
but its horn has been completely broken off. And you notice that, at least at first pass inspection, the creature seems untouched by insects or anything else, noticing no cuts, scratches, mars, or any blemish on its body.
Hmm. And the horn isn't like around, it's just gone.
Want to give me a perception check? What's your perception bonus? I'll roll for you.
What is my
Secret
perception?
check.
+8.
Yeah, so looking through this, you don't see it anywhere, but it does look like it was removed after it died.
Hmm. What is Jubilos? Is like, what's his?
He's an alchemist.
An alchemist. Okay, so he's not really going to be able to like administer any medicine or figure out what's going on.
Well, we see what it is that I can find. Nothing's immediately standing out to me. I suspect. I have no idea what his voice was. I don't remember. Sorry, listeners.
Sounds good.
I think that's good.
Yeah.
I like
I
it.
remember it was sort of haughty, a little
Mhm.
bit.
Yeah.
It must be some sort of magic or otherwise, perhaps poison, but even poison leaves some mark on a body as it rests, and it seems to have been here a while, completely untouched in a way.
Yeah.
It's odd.
Can I like look around the area and see what else is like, is there any indication of what might have happened or where we are?
I mean, possibly. So the most, as you look around, the most really notable thing is that it's like, this is you're starting to get swamp adjacent. So it's teeming with life out here, insects and otherwise. Worms, bugs, small critters. You can see where basically it's just a constant little small, quick circle of life out here.
Hmm.
But nothing is touching the unicorn. And it seems like it's been here for at least a couple days.
Hmm. That's terrible.
Do you have Arcana or any? What's your lore?
Has it been?
Wow.
Doesn't look decomposed
Ask
or
Lindsay.
anything.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Lindsay's probably got the bard lore.
yeah,
bardic
I
lore.
think I would probably call Lindsay over because I don't really.
Yes, of course. What
Yeah.
is? Oh no.
I have
Gosh,
art
this is
lore
so
now
sad.
because I started the fresco.
Oh yeah.
Oh. And you see her like kind of reach over and like put a hand on you to like stable herself a little. Like, this is. I don't ever want to see something like this.
Yeah, I think everybody's all sad and teary.
Miri's just like, I wonder what killed it.
Tom Cruise. If you haven't seen Legend.
And so I think Lindsay's going to keep looking at it and she's going to say, it is odd, but there are tales of how some acts of powerful fey creatures or others from the first world leave victims marked. I don't know how else to describe it. It's just what I've heard in stories. And the same ones say that creatures of the natural world are almost repelled by it. Such powerful fey, well, most things in the natural world know better than to involve themselves with the victim of something so powerful.
Huh.
That's all I could think of that might cause something like this, but I wonder why it was your dreams led us to this place.
I have no idea.
Well, I'm sorry your dreams reached a dead end.
Oh, God.
Awesome.
Lindsay gets
I
a
think-
patch.
I think that, like Ari might just try to like bury it or something, like while they're all
Oh,
there.
okay.
Maybe she'd like, I mean, even though they're like, don't fuck with the victim of this thing, I think she's going to be like, whatever. And like, she had these weird dreams. She's going to like see it through and try to like bury the body of the unicorn. I think she might be thinking a little bit like, what would Nikolai do if Nikolai was here?
Oh,
Seems
okay.
like something that he would.
What would Nikolai do?
That would be a big ass hole.
Yeah, well, good thing
big hole.
Amiri
Like,
is.
do you cover the horse
Yeah.
up,
Yeah,
or do you move the horse into the hole you made?
I mean, Amiri could do it pretty easily.
yeah.
I'm sure.
Amiri and Ari will like dig a giant hole together.
I mean, look, canonically at this point, because you're not 5th level yet, but you're pretty close, right? You're all 4th level, 5th level? What level are you?
Fourth
Fourth.
level.
Okay.
6th.
Whoa.
I'm just cracking Ryan up.
How many innocents did you kill?
But what I'll say is that, like, you're very close to actually becoming probably pretty soon as strong as Amiri.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, so But you do that, you kind of lay it to rest, and then do you head back to the city then?
Yeah, so I think that where are these guys going?
They were further exploring, but Jubilost and Nikolai had talked a little bit about potentially some exchanges of information around mapping and geographical areas.
So I think she's going to see if they just want to come back to the kingdom with her, so we could maybe set up like some trade and some, like what we can give them in exchange for these maps, because it seems like this might be valuable. And then I think she's just going to kind of like pocket the information of like, maybe there's something weird going on here with this Fae connection, and probably bring it up at the next town coffee.
That's fair.
Well, we've been needing to resupply for a bit. Even planning as good as mine can only account for so many calendar days at once. I suppose it is a good time to go back and see what provisions your kingdom can offer.
And Ari's going to look at Amiri and be like, you have to arm wrestle my friend Arthur. It would be so funny.
And I think Lindsay's even like, it's been fascinating to hear about everything that's happened since we last saw you. I can't wait to meet him more and to really see how Lucky's doing over time.
I'm sure they've just been bored the whole time I've been gone. I don't think anything probably really happened to them.
Cut over to Arthur, just like splayed out on the ground.
I love it.
And I think it is exactly at that we're going to like hard cut over now to all of you, like right as you've just gotten out of this undead tomb.
When you said that horse was laying there dead, have you guys ever seen the TikTok video where the lady comes out and she thinks her horse is laying?
Steven!
I thought you were dead. That's what I thought of when I...
Yep.
So, we should be the next morning after all of you took the barrow.
Sure.
Wow, this is such like upbeat
Yeah,
music.
I feel like we're in like
me press
the Pokemon Center or something.
Next morning, like pressing the rest button next morning.
Yeah,
right?
you've all rested because I think you took some of that night, Jared, and you repaired the sword of that like ancient king, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'm going to say that probably like it being a bigger piece and a magical piece, it probably took some help from Nikolai.
Yeah.
And it's just repair, it's not forging, but I still think that it should be a bigger deal. And I wanted to come back to that. And I think if you're willing to, give me a D6 roll. Minus, what's your proficiency in crafting?
I think I'm just trained.
Trained. All right, so this is where I'm just totally going to make shit up. There's probably a rule, but I like to think that this should be a bigger deal than just crafting. So I'm going to say it takes a D6 hours minus 1 for your basically proficiency.
So 5 minus 1 is 4.
So you spent 4 hours that night kind of working on forging this sword. And Trent, before today's recording session, what did I ask you?
You asked me for 5 D10 rolls.
So this
Sounds
is where
ominous.
this is where I
Yeah,
continue
you're
to
telling
say, you know what? What if I put more shit in our game? And a part of what that is there is an indie publisher of all sorts of tabletop role-playing games I fucking love. It's Exalted Funeral. They also carry a lot of prints of other indie stuff, and they print some of their own stuff. It's like one of the best places if you ever want to play old school essentials. They carry a lot of the products for that. But they're a really cool place to pick up stuff from indie publishers. And the other year on Black Friday, I picked up a book I really liked called The Vorpal Almanac.
Ooh.
Looks
It's
cool.
very
That
pretty.
I like
does
the
look cool.
cover.
Yeah, they had the regular one, and I'm like, it's Black Friday, I'm going to splurge, and I got the special edition cover. It's a really interesting book, and it's the premise. Let me just read for you the opening line of it, because I think it sums it up really well. And with your last strike, the orc falls to the ground. Behind him is chest containing 100 gold pieces and a +1 sword. It's just sort of like, look, every book we read always has like swords have such great, or magic weapons have such great history and background to them. And like anyone who's ever played an RPG knows that they are just like, by the end of the game, you're like, another +1 this? Throw it in the bag of holding.
Yeah.
There's actually a great old Nodwick comic in Dragon Magazine in which this adventuring party invents like a giant, it looks like a meat grinder that they just put all their old magic weapons in, and it just shoots them out the front like bullets. Because they're like, oh yeah, we got a few hundred of those. So this book has a lot of really unique takes on magic weapons with histories and backstories. And I'm not using that because they're scaled for like AD&D.
Sure.
But in the back of this book is a bunch of tables to add some unique history and background to it. Now, this sword actually has a little bit of history, courtesy of Pathfinder and what's written in the backstory of the people who were buried here. But as you're working on this blade, Lucky, I wanted to talk about some of the features that you notice in trying to repair it. And that's what you rolled for, Trent. No, I'm not going to roll for I'm not going to reveal some of the other things you rolled.
Sure.
But Lucky, as you're working through this, you realize a couple of things here. And you can see that a lot of pieces of this blade seem to be made from separate pieces of different types of metal, of different ages and coloring. And while cold iron runs through all of it and unites it, what you piece together is that it looks like this sword was made from melted down pieces of holy and unholy symbols, some of them no longer recognizable as to what they once were.
That's so cool.
dope.
That's so dope.
That's really
that's,
dope.
that's scary, actually.
Yeah.
The one second thing that you are finding is that even with all those things in it, carved up and around the hilt. Now remember, this culture that you brought this from didn't have a written language, but you find small pictographs and small notes. And this is something that actually you would know, Junior.
Mm-hmm.
Junior, right?
Yeah.
Is your new character. I'm still going to work
It's
on
all
your
good.
name.
Yeah, it's all good.
You're one of the Jonas brothers, right?
Yeah. Jonas Sibylla Jr.
That's right. And you notice, and this is where I'm just going to add some of it in here because I like this, that while they don't have a written language, you do find denotations on there that look like they would accompany some form of notes, and that there is some form of song recorded, etched and carved into the hilt and pommel of this sword.
If you play it backwards, it's a message from the demons.
From the demons themselves.
Yeah, if you play this backwards.
And so that's what becomes evident to you as you're repairing it, Lucky, that it's made out of melted down holy symbols and unholy symbols.
That's pretty sweet.
Well,
and
that-
it has the notes of a centuries forgotten, I'm going to say dirge, marked into the blade and handle
like a chant.
of some kind. Yeah.
Well, that's terrifying, to be quite honest.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I'm gonna try to use this book a little bit more because I think it's a really cool way to just add character to special
I like
things.
it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's fun.
And I would also encourage all of you to, especially if you're ever commissioning or making things, think about those details in your weapons or naming them. I still think back to season 1. What was it? Witch's Fate or something.
That was cool.
Which is
I
actually,
think I renamed it though.
you may have something like that. But one of the original names was
Witch's Fate. Yeah.
yeah, that was a recommendation from a friend. I was playing Total Warhammer 3 for people. I'm like, I need a name for this, and I gave them like the sword, and they're like, oh yeah, it should be this. I'm like, all right, that's cool.
I have named this bastard sword
Oh, what have you named it?
Demon's Demise.
Ooh. Kind of goes with the holy symbol theme.
Yeah.
Wasn't it like when you were fighting this thing, didn't it like grab you and you had to like kill it from laying down on the ground or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now,
That's
Trent, what is the symbol? What's the symbol of your pantheon?
Ooh. I believe it's just a red sword, but I can check.
Okay, I believe so as well. So here's what I'd like to say. This is specifically a flaming longsword.
Yes.
I will let this count as a holy symbol for you.
Badass.
Fucking
Whoa.
amazing.
And I think that when
I mean,
you
the favored weapon is bastard sword, in fact.
Yep.
There you go.
And I think that when you activate this sword, when you say the keyword, and this is something that I think you get a chance to kind of work with Lucky to sort of inscribe into it.
Mm.
Or actually, no, I think the keyword for this, and you'll take some time to figure it out, I think the keyword should be some of the, you work with Junior to decipher the first few notes of the dirge, and you have to hum those, and that's what activates the flaming rune.
Amazing.
But when you do that, it offers light as if from a torch, but the whole sword glows red when you do that.
Sweet.
Hell yeah.
Sounds pretty cool.
So just wanted to offer that up. Okay, so what's next for
That's
Amazing.
also hilarious to me
you?
because Trent made a joke in one of the episodes that just came out that Arthur hums in his sleep. So I love the idea that Arthur is just sleeping and is like, and the sword's like,
Lights out.
like, oh god.
Turn that off.
The tint burns down.
I can imagine it looks like an electric stove just heating up, like you're like, oh shit.
Arthur was drained too, so he wakes up this morning and his eyes are still like sunken a little bit.
Because you're
Oh,
into
wow.
drained 1 now, right? It's
Yeah.
1 per day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that. Undead will fuck you up.
Yeah.
Man, that was rough. I was close to death.
I could, in fact, use some healing.
What about
I don't feel great right now.
Oh, Nikolai, did you tend to folks?
Mm-hmm.
Nikolai's
true
good enough
win.
at this
Yeah,
shit.
like
you had
as-
all night. You're with
when
the
we got
exception of
out.
drained, you're healed, Trent.
Perfect.
And I have restoration.
Oh shit, you do?
Oh, nice.
Does that fix drained?
Mm-hmm.
Reduce
Oh.
conditions such as clumsy, enfeebled, stupefied.
You know what? 1 second. Oh, fuck, wrong button. I meant there's a rule for that.
Heightened fourth is add drain to the list of conditions.
Yeah.
But you don't have fourth rank. Looking
Fourth
at you,
rank.
remaster.
Rank.
Yes.
Mhm. So level 7,
So-
he can cast that.
So that I cannot do anything for you.
That's
yet.
okay. I'll sleep it off tomorrow.
All right. You look drained.
I feel drained.
So do you all want to head back to town?
My pee is red.
That's not good.
I don't
Not
think
sure.
that's
Drink some water.
drained.
Oh, that's not what that. Oh, okay.
I don't think that's what that means.
You might have a stone in your bladder.
Mm.
Wow, we're really going to try to play out every beat from Deadwood, huh? So where are you all to next? You have 2 more tasks for the swamp hag.
Is-
I
which,
do also need to have my shield repaired.
oh, yeah.
It is nearly completely broken.
So we have a couple of options here. Let me open up my map.
I mean, is town on the way to the next spot?
No, but it's only a half day's ride
This
out of
is
the
where
way.
we're at. And we can either go this way to go to the next thing, or we can go back to town.
I can fight with 2 hands on the sword. It's fine.
Mm.
I mean, the
Yeah, we
shield.
should get your shield.
Well, I mean, Lucky can
maybe
fix the
repair
shield. Yeah.
it, as
You
long as
just
it's not
need some
destroyed.
time. Yeah. And you don't know, but you all as players know that Ari is heading back to town.
That's what Nikolai would say.
Oh, yeah.
Like, should we meet up with Ari?
I guess.
Without her, you all almost died.
That's true.
That is true.
So you spend a half day, you roll back up on Shatter Shield, and you work your way into town.
Ironic.
Ironic.
Yeah.
Quite.
People see you and they kind of greet you. What's your first couple things you want to do in town? We don't need to play it all out, but what do you want to do?
Oh, go home.
Yeah. Okay.
Wash my face in clean water.
Sure.
Check in on werewolf stuff.
Oh,
Sure.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
still
Check in
werewolves.
with added. What's his name? The ranger.
Kundal?
Oh.
Oh, Ekandaya.
Akendayo. Thank you.
Yeah, you kind of check in reports. He let you know that they haven't seen any sign of the hunter Kundal at all since
Okay.
then. It's only been a couple days. He's keeping a close eye out, but it seems like he's not to make too much of a joke out of it, turned tail and fled.
Huh.
Or in this case, turned wolf and fled.
Okay,
That one,
cool.
well, the first one was okay. The second one was not.
Ari's going to come back to town and be like, Max! Look for max damage. Play with
Well,
max damage.
I want to see where everyone is when you get back into town. So we've got Nikolai going home, washing his face, taking a bath maybe. Lucky you're making the rounds, checking in.
Yep.
Jonas, what are you up to?
I'm going to be very interested in the historical relevance of the next 2 places we're going to visit. Most importantly, I want to see if I can find any information of what the residents prior to me, languages they spoke, et cetera, et cetera.
Sure. Okay. I'll come back to you. Go ahead and
Library
prep me a
and
check.
Google it.
Your
Sure.
choice
Huge
of
library.
you know what skill would be best for that.
Mm-hmm.
What's Arthur up to back in town?
Arthur's feeling pretty sluggish.
Sure.
But he keeps going around to ask townsfolk like if anybody has seen Ari. He's just like, I'm just been trying to. I'm just wondering if anybody's seen her yet or anything.
Listen, I heard a few episodes when you said my friends, and I was like, he called me his friend.
So you're all in town doing that. Let's go back to your roll real quick, Ryan. What did you roll?
Do you want me to roll? Open?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm gonna
and
roll
so you're just
either
looking in
Stolen
general?
Lands lore or Society. They're both the same.
Sure. Let's keep with lore. Lore, since you're talking about the history, just feels like the most kind of fun appropriate, if that makes
23
sense.
total.
Lore's usually lower DC too, right?
It is usually a lower DC. Looking around, what you're going to find is that a lot of your... oh my God. Is this still the wrong freaking thing of notes?
It's such a skinny book
He's
too.
got a lot of notes.
Look, I'm sorry. This is so unprofessional. So...
We should quit.
I'm out of here.
well, thank you all for taking the time to play this far with me. It's been a good time.
But
And
we made it 45 minutes into having 5 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're all fucking done. It's going to be the same cultures that you've encountered. So it's going to be like a lot of ancient Kelds and Kellish culture in this area.
Mm-hmm.
There was a lot of different like groups and like sort of sub-factions in that culture, but the predominant culture were the Kellids.
Okay, and Khaled speak Hallet, correct?
Spoke
Yeah, I believe that's true.
Yeah, I think
Sure.
it's Hallet.
Yes, that's one of those where I'm really appreciative to have so many Pathfinder vets at the table. And actually, I have been noticing. I get the impression from totally Discord creeping that you've been playing some Wrath of the Righteous, Jared.
Yeah. How did you know? Did I say that?
No, but I keep seeing on Discord that you're playing.
Yeah.
And like the one nice thing is like that's just north of here, so you get a lot of some of the world history. And Owlcat does a great job of like bringing that shit in. It's super cool.
Yeah, I just jumped back into that like 2 weeks ago. So.
It's such a good game.
It's good.
So that's a lot of it. So the big thing is that there isn't a written language for that. So a lot of it's just their traditions and things like that.
If I'm like, there are descendants of those people around still, right?
Amiri is Hallett.
Yeah.
Or she's Kelly.
So if I'm wielding this sword, are they like, what the fuck?
I mean,
there's a holy relic from, this fucking grave robber,
Okay, British Museum.
Right, exactly.
So I think it's going to be really different from person to person.
No one was here.
Yeah. That's why we're not going to put it in a museum. We're going to use it as the ancestors would want us to.
You did legitimately win it in battle against its former holder. Like you didn't just take it. Some people may have it, but honestly, the truth is that like with it being only storytelling traditions that keep it forward, you don't even know who this is or what it is. Kellids may have an interest in it if they know that it's Kellish, or that it belonged to like an ancient Kellish noble of some kind. But it's going to be different from just like in our world. It's, not everyone has the same point of view on that.
It wouldn't be like if, I just went to the British Museum, picked up William Wallace's sword and was like, look at me.
Well, no, you for one, like I said, you didn't steal it. Like you legitimately won it in combat against the person who held it before.
Spoils of war.
Yeah. So there's that. So I don't know if that's helpful, but
well,
that's where you're at.
You can see how good of a sword it is if they try to take it from you.
Mm-hmm.
True.
All right. So, Ari, who do you think, or who thinks they encounter? Or Ari, where do you go first when you come back into town? It's probably the best way to say it.
Well, Ari would for sure go to, what time is it? What time of day? Very important.
By this point, it'll probably be like 2 p.m.
Okay, so I think afternoon coffee is like right around the corner.
Yeah, and people are allowed to discuss business.
Yeah, we can discuss business because it's post 10 a.m. So
is there whiskey in your coffee?
Well, yeah.
Okay.
We do have a quorum.
She is gonna probably like stop by her house or like her hut, but then like go make way for like the town hall, the old Staglord camp. I think it would be hilarious if the first person she sees is Jonas and is like, oh, what's up? Another town person. Okay. Keeps bumping into Jonas, never sees any of you guys.
Don't know each other at all.
I'm just going around talking to people, speaking Hallett.
They're like, oh, this guy's weird, but
yeah.
Welcome to the town.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm like in the government.
Oh, sort of a big deal. Starting government young these days. That's
I
crazy.
actually speak for the people. So.
Yeah, and then she's gonna, because then I think she'll figure like, okay, they'll be around, people will be around here. Gonna play with max damage.
Okay.
Check on her fresco.
I'm making sure people are working hard and not wasting our money. So probably not me.
All right.
I just didn't want to look like all schlummy for the quorum,
Sure. Getting all cleaned up.
Gotta get cleaned up.
So you're kind of all back in town. You're getting together for your government coffee.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The quorum. I grab Junior on the way.
Okay.
Like, you're not going to participate, but come watch.
You're not going to participate.
Oh, yeah, that's cool. I didn't
You
expect
don't have
it.
a spot.
No, you guys are like royalty.
Well,
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
Kind
I
of
mean,
Like
you know.
quite literally.
I mean, somebody wrote a piece of paper and just said stamped it, and you got to be royalty now. But that's
Oh.
cool.
What else
Yes.
is royalty but someone writing it on the piece of paper?
True. Once upon a time, they used to say it was divined. You know,
Well, and some people get swords thrown at them by what retards.
but that's not a solid basis for government.
Yeah.
It's not a solid basis for government.
Well, I didn't vote for you.
for you.
Yeah. Some lobs a scimitar at you.
All right. It's good to see that you're back. And safe
Guys.
and goodness.
Hey.
I brought souvenirs. She like pulls the little bag out. She's like, wait, I've seen you around.
Well, you
What's
did
this?
meet briefly at the handoff. Remember you met him.
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
remember,
Jubilar's
this is
introduced him
Oh,
to
yeah.
everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah, but
As a local who knows
she
a lot
said
of
she was
people.
involved in government. This child was being serious.
Oh, yes.
I am not a child. I just turned 18.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
believe
yeah,
it
of
or not,
course.
she is done a beautiful fresco here in town, and she also is the one that stopped the drug ring.
Oh,
Yes,
okay.
she's a powerful warrior.
Oh, fantastic.
She's just a drunk child at the same time.
Anyway, I'm Ari. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you. Jonas Sibylla Jr., but you can call me Junior.
Junior. All right.
Jonas was his Peppy.
I'm not sure if I like the word pappy, so I'm like rethinking that. I've been looking at all the different Southern accents like this past couple weeks, and yeah.
You should watch Justified again.
Yeah, I should.
So before we get going, Ari is gonna like rifle around in her bag, and she's like giving out little things that she got from the forest.
She's been gone 4 days.
Yeah, but she's got treats, and she
You can't leave the house without getting a treat.
yeah, you got to get treats. But I think if James will allow it, the number one thing is that I'm hoping she could have rustled up some chocolate in the forest, so Nikolai could finally make her chocolate ice cream.
Maybe she bought some from the other travelers.
Yeah, can I please have just seen someone?
Need some.
Sure, you bought chocolate off of one of the gnomes.
All right,
But
bought
you
off the
won
gnomes.
it in a drinking game.
Amazing. But I think the number one thing is that she's had Lindsay make little drawings of all of you doing your like most heroic things. But then on the one, because Arthur was like kind of like sad about all of us being cool about Amiri and Lindsay. And so on the back of Arthur's, it's just going to be when he saved Ari with healing her during the Stag Lord fight. And she'll have written, "Thanks for saving me, buddy."
Thank you. This is the greatest gift I have ever received. Also, look what I found. And he's going to pull the sword at me like,
Oh my
and it lights on
God.
I like that. That's the hum.
He did the hums.
We should cut a hole in the table so you can like make it the centerpiece. And when
That's
the light's on,
when the light turns on is when the meeting is started.
Yeah, it's red light therapy all at the same time.
Yeah.
At some point, I'm just going to imagine that Trent's going to like cook something from the inside out over the fire with his sword.
Fish on a stick.
fish on a stick.
Fish on a stick.
Yeah.
Fish on a sword.
Fish on a holy relic sword.
Sturgeon on a stick.
And we don't have to go through the whole thing, but I think she would be like, what's your deal, Jonas? Like, what do you do? Kind of getting to know him a little more, and then like tell you just about her adventure to go try to find this unicorn thing and how it's kind of weird and, And if Lindsay's around, she'll let Lindsay kind of like chime in about what happened with that too.
So I think Lindsay, Amiri, and Jublos are in town, but probably not at this meeting. But they would love to catch up and see you all at some point.
Maybe we all have dinner tonight. I don't know.
Does a dead unicorn have any significance,
Yeah,
Nikolai?
I'd be interested in rolling a check for that.
Yeah, can I roll nature maybe?
Sure. I'll roll that. What's your bonus? It's a secret check.
I believe nature is 10.
I have Phalor. Does that help?
Phalor is wonderful. Yeah, what's your Phalor bonus?
11.
So, nature, not intrinsically, that unicorns are said to sometimes have some affiliation. There are some stories that get some affiliation with the first world, but it's kind of back and forth. They're rare creatures. That's kind of the biggest thing. They're very rare. Phalor, everything they're talking about, Lucky, does ring true for you. The whole some very when a very powerful fae kills something that it can mark it in a way where all of nature is like, we're not fucking with that. We're not going to touch it. I don't want to get stitches. Sort of shit.
Some potentially.
Should I have not buried it
No, it's
or?
fine. That's fine. I'm sure nothing bad will come of it.
What's the worst that could
It
happen?
just means that there's probably something powerful floating around in the forest up there.
Great. So
Something.
killer fae, killer
specifically.
turtle, and killer werewolf.
Well, this is
Yeah, and some
not
trolls
a,
and all sorts of stuff.
So on the werewolf note,
I was going to already be like, speaking of, did you guys solve the werewolf fight problem?
well, we met the hag, and then I'll fill you in on everything that happened.
Hag?
And she gave us these. She gave us 3 places we needed to go to acquire some. What did she call it? Ingredients.
me these ingredients 3.
That's
That's exactly what she said.
Yeah.
And we went to one, and it was very terrible. We almost died.
It got very close.
You might
That's what
want
happens
to
when I leave you
give
guys.
Arthur a hug. He was the one who almost beat it.
Ari turns around.
Oh, okay.
Arthur just
He
stands
does
there.
not
and
extend
Ari's
his
like,
arms at all.
Yeah.
Just
You're like hugging a
They're
statue of armor.
Ting, ting. I will say, which is, by the way, what happens anytime Trent and I have actually hugged.
I'm not a toucher. I hate when people hug.
that,
At
to be
James and
honest.
I's actual wedding, which Trenton officiated, he was like, I don't really want to hug you guys.
That's funny.
I have to be in the mood for it, you know?
No, I think when you say,
A few banquets deep.
Exactly.
when you describe the hag, Ari's going to be like, wait. When you're like talking about what she looked like. A, hair rating.
Oh, you couldn't see her hair, so we rated her headdress 14 out of 10.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
good.
it was a very cool headdress.
Well done.
She's going to
That's very
like
nice.
run off because we're in the town hall, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she's going to like rifle through a drawer and then like pull out this vial of green hair that we got this off the Stag Lord. Or like wherever it is,
could
if Lucky
not
has it
see
or whatever.
Like go in my
hair.
bag and I'm like, okay.
Violations.
I could not see her hair.
I thought
well,
that
I'm not
you
sure.
said it was green.
The hair was green. You just
Yeah.
don't know if this woman has green hair or not.
Mm.
Well, we're gonna have to go back there.
We'll
so.
ask.
Just feel like this seems a little suspicious. I don't know.
We don't really have another option as sort of where we're going.
Where you're going? Yeah.
Wah, wah.
Yeah,
are
we
we
gotta.
We don't have
Also-
the
Yeah, we're-
wherewithal.
God damn it, Trent.
Where
You started this.
Also, are we like now 3 weeks out from the full moon?
Like a scooch over 3 weeks. Yeah, probably like 3 weeks and a day or two.
So we kind of got to figure this shit out.
I
Hmm.
have something I would like to bring up.
Uh-oh.
Point of order.
On the full moon,
New business.
if we have not cured the curse, what do you want us to do with you? I recommend locking you up until it's over.
Oh, you can kill me.
Oh, I was like, yeah.
I
man.
shall not kill you, Arthur.
Okay.
We literally just became friends.
I'll kill you.
Oh, thank you.
Lucky.
Just kidding.
Thank you,
I
Lucky.
won't let Lucky kill you either.
And now Arthur's going to look at Lucky and be like,
Junior's like,
understand.
what kind of fucking quorum is this?
Do we even have the capacity to do that? Like, do we have anywhere to lock people up?
There's
You
the,
could probably build it in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
The area where we had the owl bear.
there is that. Although you've refurbished that, there is the basement where the Stag Lord's dad
Yeah,
was.
right.
I
Yeah.
think
Stag
Ari
dad.
still doesn't
Apropos.
like to go down there.
Yeah,
I'll
no
have,
shit.
Like
I'll
scared.
have some of these guys work on it while we're gone.
That's where we keep the
Yeah.
werewolves, so
We're like, we need a dungeon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For
you guys are
no
the ones
reason.
that got bit. That's not my fault.
We're establishing a democracy where everyone's equal, but we do need a dungeon.
Just
Do
in
need a
case.
dungeon.
Well, otherwise, where are new adventurers going to go?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
It's actually a training. It's a professional development
Right, right.
opportunity.
Oh my God. Wait, we should have a training dungeon.
Like
And
an
then-
escape room training
Yes.
dungeon?
It's our escape room in the
With the
bottom of
Giant
town
rats
hall.
down there.
Get
On
a-
occasion, there's a werewolf.
A mimic.
It's a
you know.
commerce in
Yeah, a
chambers.
mimic.
We're looking to upgrade to werewolves in our dungeon.
But I think that we could just like, because we haven't told anybody that we got bitten, so we could be like, this is for training purposes, but also we could lock ourselves in there if we
Uh-huh.
have to. Did you almost fall out of your
I
chair?
almost fell out of my chair. It's all good.
So what's next on
Yeah.
the?
Are we going
we
to
should-
the thermal, geothermal place? Are we going to the tower?
Geothermal pit
I would just like to
guarded
say,
by a beast.
I think the tower sounds more
I
interesting.
think the hag is
tower is
sending us
so
into a bunch of
interesting.
death traps, but
Oh, absolutely.
Mhm.
Well,
I'll follow you.
we
We
almost
also-
fell into the first one, so
True. We also don't really know what she's going to do with this stuff when we bring it to her.
Yeah, that's true.
But we got to
but-
get this fixed.
We didn't really get good vibes from her.
Yeah.
at the minimum, perhaps we can.
I mean, she was nice to all of you.
Can
She-
learn
She
something.
was mostly nice.
She was tolerant.
She did not trust us, and I don't think we trust her either.
Right.
Mm.
Hmm.
So tower.
Okay.
Tower.
You going
Tower.
on the west side of
So
your lake or the
3
east
votes,
side?
4 votes for tower.
What's faster?
Probably equidistance. You do know from her that on the west side, because
Yeah.
remember, there's your lake and then like a tiny little water bridge, then another
Yeah.
little lake. And you know that on the west side of that southern lake is a lizard folk tribe.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So there is that.
Do you want to go?
I've heard
or
about
will I
these
avoid
lizard
them?
folk.
And maybe giants over here.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Here be giants.
Mhm.
You got
Arthur,
options.
You're like a big anti-demon guy.
The sword is. But
Those lizard folk
personally,
worship demons.
I'm very upset about the idea of undead.
No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Mm.
I think the lizard folk they don't really fuck with undead, but demons.
Oh,
That's just what I heard.
they like to hang out with demons.
I'm not sure so much hang out. Do gods really hang out with mortals? More
Mm.
worshipping, more like
Oh.
supplication.
That's problematic.
Sounds.
Let's go
Icky.
the other way then.
Go down the east side.
Gonna be handy to have around.
I just heard stories.
I mean, I've heard those stories too. It's fine.
Everybody,
Lucky,
cheers
you've
your
heard
coffee
all of the
cups.
stories.
I know all the
He's like,
stories
I
too.
know
Yeah,
that.
right.
I know that.
All right. So you're gonna spend the night in town. You're gonna have that dinner. Invite Lindsay and Amiri, and you can invite Jubilos too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all the levity havings will take place.
So here's what I want to know. This is important. Who all gets the invite to the dinner?
all of us.
Yep.
Jubilos, Lindsay, and Miri.
Okay.
I
Not,
think like Ekandayo and our other guy who have been like helping us out.
Not
Or
damage.
not.
No, knock knock.
max damage.
If
Jesus
knock
Christ, you're
comes,
gonna make
I'm
Knock
leaving.
into a villain.
I was gonna say knock knock.
knock all the time. I've never met him before.
I don't need to.
Oh,
To meet
Knock
Keston.
wait. You didn't want me to invite Knock Knock? I already invited Knock Knock.
Oh boy.
See,
I'm
I'll see you
excited.
guys in the
We'll
morning.
put them in between us so we can keep an eye on them.
I love Knock Knock.
I do too.
What about Meekmek?
Oh,
I think he's in town right
is
now.
Meek here?
I think he could be. He kind of goes back and forth between the kobold lair and town.
Yeah,
Love
then
Meek Mac.
sure.
Yeah.
Him and Knock Knock are kind of becoming buds.
Uh-oh.
Oh, now I don't
We
like
have an
Meek Mac.
issue.
And I would say we invite like whoever these people are. I'm sure that when we're gone, Lucky has someone that he's like, manage this. And
Yeah, of course.
You're the department head of this thing. Like we would invite some of those
Yeah,
people.
you do
What was it?
canonically have civil servants or whatever
Yeah.
from your kingdom
What
ability.
was the guy's name from Deadwood with the hat and like the holes in his jacket?
Oh, the guy that eventually became mayor.
He became the mayor.
I don't even remember.
He
now.
was, oh man.
the guy that owns the hotel. Do you remember?
Oh, not the hotel. I was thinking of the saloon. Like, not Ian McShane's character,
No,
right?
the other
Ian
guy.
McShane's
The one
like,
that's kind of his little beta boy that follows
yes.
around.
Mhm. But who's also, he seems like a huge piece of shit, but he's scheming.
Yeah. I mean, it's Deadwood.
Yeah.
All right. So
it's Deadwood.
do you just open it up to, is it an invite or do you just hold like a community, like, potluck?
I
Community
think,
barbecue.
yeah, anybody should be able to come.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, then it becomes a whole different question of who's invited to the barbecue.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Yeah. So you fire it up, you get it going. You get some fish in, you maybe break open some of your stores that you've kind of been working on as a community, and you kind of just do an evening thing. We're kind of, I'd love to spend more time on that, but the truth is we just spent like a whole episode just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah.
like bringing folks together. So I think it goes well. It's a nice thing in the evening.
Can I roll a hunting lore to see if I killed a boar that afternoon?
If you went out to hunt one, yes. You and Ekandayo went out and hunted. Actually, you know who else is unfortunately very good at hunting?
Knock,
knock.
Knock Knock.
Yeah, so you,
Oh,
Ekandayo,
yeah.
and
Take
Knock
him with
Knock
you.
went out.
That's when he got invited.
Yep.
Yeah.
Give
Oh,
me
what's his pig for? Oh, we're oh,
It's
We're
for
doing a thing.
decoration.
he like shot it. He's the one that like
What the fuck?
Yeah.
What do you got for your hunting lore?
24.
Oh yeah, you're able to bring something back. You know, what,
I
give me
even
just
find the apple that goes in its mouth.
give me one thing each. Each five of you, just give me. You don't have to like play it out, but just give me a narrative beat of a moment that was either significant to your character, significant to your character's story that happens at that meal tonight. You hunt the boar and bring it back. Do you have any other kind of beat
I
for
would
the
say
dinner?
like cutting it up and serving it to people is like making him feel good about the community that he's creating.
Very
or helping
Erastil,
create, yeah.
like sort of feeding it and bringing everyone together under
Yeah.
one house.
Yeah.
Okay, Lucky, what's a story beat that plays out for you at the dinner?
I'm editing Lindsay's story about us.
There's like red
redlining
pen.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like,
mean,
no,
like-
this detail's not quite right. We're gonna have to tweak this a little bit.
I wasn't sure, like, are you talking copy editing or like pumping it up a little?
Both.
So you and Lindsay are just going back and forth on the
Yeah,
stories.
totally.
And she's like, oh, this is so frustrating. Look, Ari said to change it like this, and now you're telling me to change it the other way. I can't.
Listen, Ari's great, but I'm more of a professional in these sorts of things. So I think maybe you and I should just collaborate, and we'll take Ari's advice under advisement.
Oh, it's
Creative
interesting.
direct.
Every page is like the miraculous, amazing Ari killed
This is too
the
many
biggest
adjectives.
giant.
Too many big adjectives.
And she's like, well, that's interesting. I guess I always have wanted to do something a little grittier. We could really get into that space.
I'm all for it.
Okay. Jonas, what's a narrative beat for you that
I
evening?
am going to be talking Hallett with the Miri.
Nice.
Twofold, probably. I imagine she's like
Yeah, she's
9 inches
huge.
taller than me, but I'm very interested. She's probably one of the only people So I have a feat called ancestral linguistics. I can pick a new language every day. So I can speak that today, and she speaks it, and I'd be very interested to see what she knows about the history of the crypt that we were just in, because I'm addicted to history.
Mm-hmm.
And I think she will share with you like a couple of stories that she's heard that sort of relate to like Eldings, but they're so vague at this point in the history to which they've taken place. But you know what I think is appropriate? We haven't really touched on this in a while. I haven't seen it, but remember how there are the influence mechanics and mini games with all these NPCs. And there are certain things that happen at different thresholds with these characters. So let's go ahead and, Jane, I'm just going to basically give you several sort of auto successes with Jubilos, Lindsay, and Amiri for having gone on this adventure.
Cool.
And I think I'm going to start giving you some credits, because I don't always want to have to be direct interactions, because I don't know that we, especially as like a podcast version of the story, always have the right space to play these things out as like, roll a persuasion check. Like on first meeting when there's a little bit of tension, I like that. But if everything's like, I want to say that you probably did get some influence with Knock Knock and Ekendayu, Nikolai, for going on a hunt with them. I think that makes sense. It'll be just sort of smaller. But so this is one of your earlier interactions with Amiri. Why don't you go ahead and give me a big old check? I think you can kind of get some vibes on what works well for her, but like athletics, intimidation, survival, performance, diplomacy, deception. I will let you, as a part of performance, count your sort of talking about Kellish history.
Got it.
No. Also, like, I'll let you use your lore
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
to compete against the DC that's, because it's different DCs for all these checks. But I think in terms of performance and stories, you're talking about cultural stories. So
Sweet.
give me that check.
Roll it open.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
23.
Nice. Yeah, so you make some ground, and like she genuinely like has a good time with you. And let me see if there's anything, because at some point you also do get some like bonuses or some things that they get for being good friends with these folks. And I'm trying to see what the threshold event is for Amiri, or if that's even one of the things for her.
How jealous is Ari over there watching the new guy chat up Amiri in her native language?
Well, I actually think that she is not jealous. What I was going to say for mine is that like at some point in the night, I think like if it's just little story beats, it would be like Ari is like telling stories with like Knock Knock to like Arthur and Amiri and Jonas, like trying to like kind of, you know, bring all of our friends
Bring us
together.
all
Everyone's
together.
like laughing. Ari's like, and then I said, and Knock Knock's like, who's there? And like, we all laugh.
I kind of love everything about that. Yeah, so you're just kind of living up life of the party. Arthur, what's your little beat?
Arthur's actually sort of away from this whole party. He just ate his own fish on a stick, and he's wielding this sword, and he's like trying to get its balance correct. He's trying to fight with it better. He's not really happy with how things ended in that fight, how like everything almost went to complete shit.
Sure.
So he's trying to get back in the mindset of being a strong and powerful warrior.
I like it.
Okay. Cool. All right. Wraps up. You all wake up the next morning, varying degrees of fine, tired, and hungover.
This feels so much better.
Yeah. And you head off around the eastern side, riding off, the sun coming up over the mountains to the east as you head down around the edges of the Tuskwater Lake, riding south to whatever it is that might come. As for what might come, tune in next week to find out.
Heyo.
I'm gonna kill something.
The Live to Die podcast is a production of Live to Die Gaming. Follow us on social media at Live to Die Pod. Leave a review and tune in next week for more. If you like the amazing background audio and music, all that credit goes to Syrinscape. Make sure you check them out at Syrinscape.com.